So today I thought I'd make a follow-up video to yesterday's information, and I'm going to concentrate on the calculator today. So what we're really looking for is how to find an equation, a quadratic equation, which is your x squared equations in vertex form. And again, your vertex form is y equals a, which either makes it wider, narrower, or reflects it or flips it, and then x minus h squared plus k. That's your template you work with. And then you're going to plug numbers in for the a, the h, and the k. And so on these first ones, they give you the vertex. So you already have everything. You're just trying to figure out the a piece. So we have y equals, and it says it opens downward also. If it opens downward, it has to have a negative sign. So I know it's a negative something. I just got to figure out what the something is. And then the vertex was 1, negative 3, so x minus 1. And a minus 3 on the back. You're squared there. So all I need to do is figure out this a piece. That's what these first ones are like. It's similar to the ones yesterday. And the way I do that is I'm going to use my calculator and stat edit and stat calc. So I have the vertex 1, negative 3, which is about there. And I have a 2, negative 5. Make sure that's a negative 5 because yeah. So I have 2, negative 5, 2, 3, 4, which is right here. And it says it opens down. Well, recall that the vertex is the center of the parabola. So everything on the right side of the parabola is exactly the same as everything on the left side of the parabola. So if I have a point at 2, negative 5, then I must have a point exactly across from 2, negative 5 and the same distance from the center. So I must have a point at 0, negative 5. And so I'm going to use the 1, negative 3, the 2, negative 5, and the 0, negative 5 in stat edit and stat calc to find an equation or a quadratic equation. And so I can go over to stat and then edit's my first option, and my x coordinates are 1 or 0, 1, 2. That would work better. And then I move over to the right side. My y coordinates are negative 5, negative 3, and negative 5 again. So it matches 0, negative 5, 1, negative 3, 2, negative 5. I go back to stat, right arrow to calculate tab, and quad reg is option 5. So we want to do a quadratic regression. And in this case, I just need an equation. So I just keep pressing the enter key until I get an equation. And what I need out of the equation is the a value, this negative 2. So then I know that negative 2 goes right there. And there's my equation in vertex form. And I'm finished with that equation. On the other part of it, the 5 through 8, and I glued these grids in here. You won't have them on your worksheet. If the grids help you with visual, you just have to look up graph paper, and there's all kinds of graph paper, and you can print one off and if you wish and do whatever you want to do with it to get your picture going. But on these others, we're still going to find an equation, but we've got a little bit different information. So the axis of symmetry is 2. The axis of symmetry is that imaginary line that goes through the center of a parabola. It's opening down. That's important to know. So I know I'm going to have a negative. I have 1, negative 6, which is going to put me way down here somewhere. So we'll just pretend that's a point there, 1, negative 6. 4, negative 15 is going way down there. So 2, 3, 4. It's going to be way down here somewhere. So that's fine. The idea is it's opening down, so I know vertex is up here somewhere. It's got to be above this 1, -6. However, right on exactly the other side of this axis of symmetry, remember the axis of symmetry splits it down the middle. So if the axis of symmetry is at 2 and I have a point at 1, -6, then I have to have a point at 3, -6, because it's exactly 1 unit to the right of the axis of symmetry. And there's my third point. So I'm looking for 3 points on both of these. So on the first ones, they give you the vertex and a point. Here they give you the axis of symmetry and 2 points, and you use that information to come up with your third point. And then we're back to the same thing. So stat edit. And this time I have 1, 3, and 4. So 1, 3, 4. And the 1 goes with -6. The 3 goes with -6. And the 4 goes with -15. Back to stat again, calculate. So you see we're kind of doing the same thing. Option 5, quadratic. But this time I want to look at the graph. So this time I'm going to stop at store regression equation, or store reg EQ. And I introduced this back in August, September-ish, but it comes back again and it comes back around again, so it's a good time to learn it. When you stop at store regression equation, I'm showing you how to store it in Y1 so that you don't have to rekey it in and it'll already be there. You press the vars key and then your right arrow to Y vars, and then you just press enter until you get an equation, and it goes through the whole sequence and stores it in Y1. So there's my equation, -3 x squared plus 12x minus 15. If I was putting in standard form, that's what I would do. So I know I've got a -3 for the a. So I'd have y equals -3. And then I got an x something. So I need the rest of this equation. And that's where the graph comes in. So I graph this thing and I want to find the vertex. If I find the vertex, that's what I put in for h and k. It looks like the vertex is 2, -2 or -3. So I'm going to go to table and just double check. So you'll notice at 2, -3, if you look above and below that set of coordinates, I've got -6, -15 above, -6, -15 below. So as long as those are the same above and below, then that is my vertex. So 2, -3 is my vertex. So it's x minus 2 and -3 back here. So it's always opposite in parentheses and face value on the last term. And that's how you solve those equations. And then on the bottom of the page, there's a word problem. There's a couple of word problems on the back of that. I'll set this one up, and then you can hopefully use that information to help you with the word problems on the back of yesterday's page. So a batter hit a ball in the air. The ball reached a maximum height of 102 feet at 3.5 seconds. After it was hit, at the point of impact, the bat was 4 feet off the ground. So you may have to draw you kind of a diagram here and just make do with it. Or if you have graph paper, you can put that on there. So when it was hit at 0, 0 is when it's hit. X is usually your time. Y is usually your height or other things going on. But X is usually time. So was it 4 feet when it was hit? It was at 102 feet at 3.5 seconds. Which, by the way, there's your vertex. Maximum height, that's your vertex. So way up here somewhere. So I already have almost all of my equation. And at the ball reached the maximum height, 3.5. So since they're symmetric, that means at 7, it was back to what it originally started at 4. So at 7 seconds, there's the third point. So I've got all the points I need, even though I have the vertex. So I have 0, 4, 3.5, 102, and 7, 4. And I can run those in stat edit and stat calc. And then store your reg equation in y equals because it asks you what's going on at 6 seconds. And then you can just go to your table at 6 and figure that out. So you're back to stat edit. Got the correct side here. So 0, 3.5, and 7. And then 0 is 4. 3.5 is 102. And 7 is 4 again. Stat, calc, quadratic. I'm going to stop at store reg EQ because I have a question being asked about that when asked for the 6 seconds. So vars, y vars, and then just press enter until you see an equation. So -8, that's what I was looking for in vertex form, because here's the vertex, 3.5102. So I have y equals -8, and then parentheses x minus 3.5 squared plus 102. So that's the equation, and then it wants to know what's going on 6 seconds after. Well, using the vars, you put that equation in y equals. So then when I go to 6, it says how high was the baseball after 6 seconds after it's hit? Well, there's your answer, 52. So you've got that answer to that question. So usually drawing a picture will give you enough information, either 3 points or an axis symmetry. In other words, it sets it up like one of the two situations above, and you can get it solved that way. So it's usually good to draw a picture, get your 3 points, stat edit, stat calc, stop at store reg EQ, go to vars, y vars, put your equation in there, and then you can either look at the equation or look at the table and figure out what's being asked. So have a good weekend. There's a 6 weeks test next Tuesday. It will be in Aware, and recall your ID and your password 1 through 8 for what gets you into that one. So that's going to be next Tuesday, and it'll only be open probably till Wednesday or Thursday. And then it's the end of the 6 weeks next week. So if you're a little behind on assignments, you need to get things caught up this weekend. If you're current with assignments, then enjoy your weekend. You've earned it.